What's up, guys? It's Bill from Pop Culture Pause Screen, and today on Character Select we're going to do things a little differently. I was digging around on my PC and found some of my old recordings when I first got my capture device, and I was trying sort of playing around to see if I can get it working on the Sega Saturn, and I found a recording that I've never actually watched back from a very favourite fighting game of mine called Fighting Vipers. So yeah, I'm going to play through with my favourite character from that game, Mahler, and see what I actually recorded. So let's do that right now. Oh, cool. So this intro is pretty freaking sweet. I miss 90s guitar rock. Everything had either a saxophone in it or electric guitar. They loved it. I miss it so much. Yeah. It was when a lot of people were playing Tekken and Virtual Fighter. I was way more into this series, just because of the spectacle. And there he is. There's Mahler standing on a boss, waiting for you to go through 50 other people before you get to him. Well, that's what they lead you to believe, anyway. So yeah, Fighting Vipers. What is Fighting Vipers? Fighting Vipers is made by the same people that made Virtual Fighter, but they put a few more mechanics in there. It's like everybody wears body armor, and you can break it off as you fight. And if you're feeling particularly confident, you can lose your armor and gain a speed boost. But also they've got these really cool ring outs. Before Dead or Alive did it, before Mortal Kombat did it, the ring outs were in this were one of the biggest selling points. So now I wonder if I remember any of Mahler's moves. So yeah, when fighting Virtual Fighter came out, I liked the game, or rather I wanted to like the game, but the game just didn't like me. Coming from a Street Fighter background, Virtual Fighter just chewed me up and spat me out, and we didn't really like the taste of one another, we have to say. But Fighting Vipers was a lot easier to get into, and when people were talking about Tekken versus Virtual Fighter, which happened for a little bit, not for a long time, I was all over Fighting Vipers and no one knew what I was talking about, which, what else is new, eh? But as you can see, what separated it is they put this cage around the ring so you could corner people and beat them up. And there you go, break their armours off if you keep being aggressive, which lowers their defence. And it looks really cool when you're beating someone up and suddenly their armour just explodes. So awesome. So Mahler is the... there's two Mahlers. There's BM, which is Big Mahler, and Mahler, which is a character that they've taken from the last boss and sort of dulled them down a bit to make it more fair to play in player versus player matches. So this version of Mahler is the one that doesn't have the boss advantage. And there's not too much to tell about these characters in these games. Sega, the first one was reasonably successful in the arcade and did reasonably well on Sega Saturn, all things considered. But everyone kept saying it's just not Virtual Fighter. I think people were so into Virtual Fighter, and the market got oversaturated with how many. There you go, bang, love it, smash right through the wall, so cool. I love it. Still looks good even now. Yeah, I think people were so oversaturated with fighting games at the time, 3D fighting games, that they just people hadn't adjusted yet and weren't ready for another one. But me, I was all over this. Oh, yes! Love it. And you can actually climb. I don't know if I do this on this, but you can actually climb the walls and leap off the walls. It's like it's Virtual Fighter with Tekken style combos in a steel cage. What is there not to like in this game? There's Candy. So she was the big poster girl for this game, which is you know, why does it really matter? Crazy. Anyway, Irish whip into the cage combo. Yeah, so you could bounce people off the cage. There's grapples into the cage, and the Virtual Fighter sort of mechanics still apply. It was all on 3 buttons. You had block, punch, and kick, and it was all about pressing combinations. You know, hundreds of these different types of combinations. You know, down, down, back, forward, half towards. Even things like when you jump by pressing up. How long you held up was a different input and had different ramifications to your punch and kicks. But like I was saying, Sega didn't really sort of flesh this out because of its oversaturation. People were just like, give us more Virtual Fighter. We don't want anything new just yet. We're still getting used to this Virtual Fighter thing. So a lot of the characters don't really have that much history, especially Mahler. He, from what I can... Oh, man, I'm never going to get over how cool that looks every time. Especially from like researching Mahler before I did this video. Basically, he's a guy. Apparently, he's 20 years old, which is BS. He doesn't like the mayor of the town they fight in, and all these street fighters, all these alley fighters, come together in a tournament he puts together to get back at the mayor somehow. And he's shadowed in mystery about who he is and what he does. All people know is that he's a really powerful wrestler. And to be honest, he just looks so cool. He's got a friggin' snake armor plastered to his shoulders and back. He's just awesome. I'm just gonna get this picky guy, pick him up, pick up his skateboard, wrap it around his face. A nice little chokehold there. But yeah, I mean, if Sega just would have given this... I mean, there was a sequel on Dreamcast. I never played it. I don't even know if it came out in this country, to be fair. I don't know if it was just an American release or not. But if they just would have maybe mixed this more in with, I don't know, Virtual Fighter a bit more. I know they did Fighters Mega Mix, which was a combination of 2, which I'll play at some point. But they just stuck with it. There was just... I just thought these characters had so much more... they were just so much more interesting. When Tekken and Virtual Fighter were just taking... when Tekken and Virtual Fighter were just taking, you know, each martial art and making a character out of it. Fighting Vipers was just going, okay, what happens if you build a mech into a human type character and just make a character from that? You know, just take them from anywhere. You got fashion models, you got... Jane's a military woman who looks very similar to the girl from the woman from Aliens. Yeah, and they just the designs of it for me were just a bit more varied. Personal preference, I know, but by now, I mean, the moves on this game were pretty cool, but they were quite limited. Like, you know, King from Tekken has now got combo wrestling moves and all sorts, and Mahler, he's supposed to be a pro wrestler. He just didn't quite get enough time to sort of get more moves to his arsenal. Otherwise, he'd be throwing off a lot more flipping suplexes and power slams and stuff like that, I suppose. But bit of a shame. Anyway, getting to the fight. So Jane's dodging around about. Ouch! Got this massive clubbing metal arm. Choke slam there for more. Oh, double hit. Back punch to my face. So, and the music on this game is just pumping electric guitar. It's just some people, I think, criticised this back in the day when it was reviewed for just trying too hard, but oh man, The music is really fast and filled with different guitar riffs. The characters are just, like you say, more varied and... Oh! Crunch! See, you don't get stuff like that in the other 3D fighters at the time. Okay, this was competing with the big heavy hitters like Virtual Fighter and obviously more Tekken, which completely destroyed the competition. But Jesus, I just uppercutted G.I. Jane onto the wall, and she broke her back on the top of the fence. Awesome. I mean, yeah, you know, there was ring outs in Virtual Fighter, and I think there wasn't anything like that really in Tekken. And Dead or Alive had the destructible areas where things just blew up, but it's a steel cage, and this one it's a concrete wall. It just, you know, you can smash them through anything, and it's just a concept that if they brought back, there was a lot more they can do with it. You know, I would have liked if they would have had like a Hell in a Cell type arena where you can knock them through the floor just the same way as you can knock them through the walls. Yeah, choke out Sandman. Crack. Other characters in this game you'd like to play? Personal preference, but me, I thought Mahler just looked so freaking cool. I just want to. So Bourne is the main character in the game. He's like the Ryu of the franchise. Again, I just think he looked pretty cool. I could never get on with his play style. He played a little bit too much like Akira from Virtual Fighter, with complicated button combos that I can remember. See, you smash someone through glass off a lift, like hundreds of feet in the air. That's awesome. I used to say that a lot. I remember that. Yeah, he's the poster boy, where Candy was the poster girl, I suppose. Thanks for coming, Bourne. Cheers. Didn't really show you too much there, but he's you know, spinning uppercuts. I suppose if you got Ryu, Akira, and Jin all mixed together in a character and just changed what they look like, he's got similar of all of those. Grace is another cool character. I would definitely do a character select on Grace on this game again in some time in the future. Yeah, she's like, she's a roller. I can't remember what Grace is with. She's like a fashion enthusiast or something, but she's on roller skates and is beating the shit out of people. It's awesome. Oh, suplex! There we go. Some wrestling moves for you. Keep missing those grapples. Another choke slam. The problem with Fighting Vipers mainly though is I wish I played a lot more of this game when I was growing up, but it was a lot of my friends were more into wrestling games back then and not so much these fighters. We were just crazy about wrestling. Who wasn't back in the 90s? But there also wasn't too many modes. Although this game was one of the first games, if not the first, to have like a training mode where you had all the characters' moves list and you played through them and ticked them off, and you just went through the moves one by one. Oh, back suplex? Yes! German suplex! Yeah. So yeah, it had a training mode so you can go through all the moves, tick them off. Replays, it used to fill up your Sega Saturn with replays unless you turned it off in the options. You'd play through an arcade mode, and then suddenly your memory would be all gone. It's like, what the hell? And you just do all these replays of Virtual Fighting Vipers because you hadn't turned it off in the options. So it's BM, Big Mahler. As you can slightly see, he's like maybe a third of the size bigger than normal Mahler. Is it a bit lazy for a last boss? Maybe. I don't know. I used to think he was just an imposter and loved beating him up. Oh, big right hand. Falcon punch. More like Mahler punch. He's just such a cool character. I just wish Sega used their characters better. People don't even know who these characters are, I know, but they've made some really cool looking characters in the past and they just don't use them. But yeah, as I was saying, there just wasn't enough modes on this game to sort of rival things like Tekken. Once you practice with your characters, there was no online modes back in the day. So unless you had a friend to come around and play them, you could only play arcade mode over and over again. And to be honest, that's a very limited appeal once you've done it on the hardest skill level. So a bit of a shame, really. I'm trying to round up by do a massive punch here, and there it is. He bounces off the ropes and flies through the air to his death. Because you look like you're hundreds of feet in the air here. So goodbye, Big A BM. New champion. So crazy little game, this Fighting Vipers. It did come out on Xbox Live Arcade a little while ago when that was a thing. I don't know if you can still get it now. Might be able to, but one of my Sega Saturn favourites. I just wish I knew more people who were a fan of it when I grew up. These are all the replays from me. Look at that. It just looks so cool, just losing the armour and then smashing them through walls. You could have done so much more with it. Dead or Alive obviously picked up on that and started doing the transitions. I don't know if it was because of this, but the transitions were really cool. But this was what Fighting Vipers was, and you could have done so much more with the franchise. There's that backbreaker. So happy I grabbed that. Just caught that on there. Must be why I kept this. So, yeah, choke slam, bitch. I'm gonna do another one of these. As I said, there's Fighters Mega Mix, which is like Fighting Vipers versus Virtual Fighter. I will definitely do one of those, and hopefully show off a few more of the back suplex. Hopefully show off a few more moves of Mahler. But I'll definitely do another one for Grace. Love this game. Anybody want to challenge me to Fighting Vipers anytime, just please let me know. So that's it from Bill, and that was a lot of fun going back and looking at that and seeing what I recorded there. That's it. This was Bill from Pop Culture Pause Screen. Thanks for checking out the video. If you want more from me, just click one of the videos in the continue screen coming up. Thanks so much. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.